Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Quantum Guide Show. I have a note. I have something I want you to take note of, and because so many people are using AI for their content, and sometimes they're trying to pass that off as their original content, I want you to please take note that all the content on my shows, except for the thumbnail and the background art, besides that, all the content is completely and authentically human generated and includes absolutely no AI whatsoever, and no AI generated components whatsoever. And I want you to know that we are real. We are the real deal. Real people having real conversations. And today I'm very happy to bring back my returning guest and friend, Frank Castle. And for those of you who are not familiar with Frank, let me just tell you a little bit about him before we get started. Frank Castle is a writer, producer, MC, and a founding member of the music group called Heist Click, as well as a neo shaman. Neo shamanism is not a single cohesive belief system, but a collective term for many philosophies and activities. He also hosts inspiring conversations with his popular YouTube podcast called Frank Castle Fearless, where he delves deep into the nature of reality. Frank's most current music project, Sons of the Sun, debuts high frequency, futuristic nostalgia vibes back into the listening environment of music lovers everywhere. And you can access his music from YouTube at Sons of the Sun. And Sons is spelled Suns, of the Sun, just so that you can find it easier. All of the links are featured below in the description, and I'm asking you all to please check me out, subscribe to my channels if you haven't already done so. Leave me a comment, like my videos, and please do share my content with your friends. And I'm very happy to announce that you can now join my channel, help support the work that I do, and also take advantage of my perks. That would be awesome. So without further ado, I'll bring on Frank. Frank, how you doing today?
I'm doing actually really good right now. That intro to your show calmed me down so much from when we were having our conversation right before it started. So thank you for having me back on Quantum Guides. I am thankful and grateful to be here with you. And we are the real deal, having the real conversations. It really is us. All eyes will be on us as the future unfolds. As
Mm-hmm.
AI steps up its game, the spirituality steps up their game. The ascension process isn't stopping. The doomsday clock is, I believe, just seconds from midnight. The doomsday clock, to me, being the ascension clock, they call it doomsday because it would be doomsday for them because the script writes them out of it at
Mm-hmm.
some point through revelations.
Mm-hmm.
They start the whirlwind effect, and you see the splits in the communities, and the people in the world. um, Everyone's lying.
Yep. It's all fake bullshit. And, I forget who said it, was that they would know when their propaganda campaign is complete, where everything we believe is a lie. And so I don't believe anything they dish me anymore. It's all lies. Even on YouTube with alt media, the different podcasters I used to watch to catch up on the news and stuff, I don't believe any of it anymore. The whole thing, I think, is theater and bullshit. And it doesn't satisfy, it doesn't cure your hunger,
None
Frank?
of it. None of it does.
Mm-hmm.
Even the media, in terms of like the entertainment, they
Mm-hmm.
have to pump it out faster, but the quality is down 100%.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's like I would feel terrible to even bend in that direction to like or care enough about something that other creators out there put out. But when you see who's manipulating what, you tend to step back and say, you know what, maybe it's time to just water the garden.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big one, right?
Oh, it really is a big one. So today I'm wondering, like, we're going to talk about the split and the script. And I know you're anxious to, or not anxious, but
I am
enthusiastically waiting to talk about that. But also, before we went live, you were telling me about a phenomenon. And if it's too personal to share with the audience, that's totally okay. But if you want to talk about that too, I think it's all relevant and
I think I
all
have
part of
to.
the same package. So let her rip, Frank.
All right. So I don't know how to describe this, but ever since the 7th, it's got really intense. But a week ago, leading up to this, has been very painful. My wife and I have this funny thing we do where we go, there's this meter that no one sees, right? And then, oh my God, what's happening? Oh, everything's okay. Nothing happened. Oh, okay. So what's going on? Oh, well, look at this. The sink is broke. Oh my God. Oh, Paula just turned the knob and it fixed everything. Oh, everything's all right. I went food shopping and but now you have food for 2 months. Everything's okay. Right? There's this intense line, one side and the other. So they talk about the spiritual path. You ride the middle lane, right? The unaware, like I don't want to be part of any of this. You get sucked in. Don't no matter how hard I try to be awesome, I find myself in failure, but they're telling me, no, you're in resistance and you're jumping one side to the other. Like when you flow, you have to stand in the river and then let go. You don't fight the river because you can't win. You don't win that fight, and you don't anchor where the water's flowing. So you have to release. Now, I'm looking at my calendar right here, and I realized, okay, I had said to you when you emailed me, you were like, yo, what do you want to talk about? And I was like, we could talk about anything. I could literally go
Mm-hmm.
on and on and on. But what's relevant? And it just came out. The split and the script. Obviously, it's the most important thing to talk about right now because that's what I'm aware of. I'm like looking at it and going, wait, there's splits. There's obviously splits going on. People are politically this way. People are politically that way. Everyone's choosing a side. And I was telling you, I don't want to choose a side. I'm on my side. I'm with Source. I'm with
Mm-hmm.
the plan, but not the plan that like the politicians put out, right? That's all the script. The plan is my contract. Why am I here? I remember why I'm here. I've been here before. Been here is before been here. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
I go way back, right? But there's something happen. So it's an inside job, right? So it's in you, and then it reflects outward. So I'm kind of like, all right, I'm stepping away from things, and I'm using less this and doing less that, and I'm trying to create more. And but something physically happened to me. But okay, the only way to explain it, I don't know how people see in their mind's eye. I'm not in your mind's eye, but my ability is to see up and down in density. And for my entire life, that confused me because I had no clue what it was until I did ayahuasca. And she did this thing to my brain where I had a concussion. I used to play sports, a lot of contact sports, and I had many concussions. And then she like touched my head, and then the whole thing lit up, and then I could think clearly again. Things started working the way they were supposed to work. So the psychedelics helped, but I stopped using the. All right, so I did them a lot in the beginning because I had to know, I had to fix, I had to heal, I had lots of trauma. So I'm getting all this done, and I'm like, okay, well, what is this all for? Right. And it always leads to this other thing, which is the galactic family, the inner earth beings, and you're being prepared to deal with them as a shaman. You'll need to stand there with them and speak to them. And I'm like, wow, this is crazy. And then you see your contract. I'm like, oh, there's my contract. Now, so I stopped doing the psychedelics as much because my life became more. I was had the my abilities more, but nothing prepared me for. I'm thinking that the portal opening was the 7th, and I think our calendar's off. So I don't
Yeah,
think we're going by a true calendar, because
I agree 100%.
sometimes I'm like 2 weeks ahead and sometimes I'm 2 weeks behind physically, but the date is correct. I don't know. I can't explain it. I just think we're on the wrong calendar. It should be like 13 months. Uh, what is it, like 28 days a month or 30 days a month, whatever it has to be. And then everybody's just on a set schedule with no daylight savings and all that other garbage. That's all
Mhm,
nonsense.
mhm,
So internally, inside of me, no matter I can see up and down in density. I can feel you entering the room. I can see physically what's around. I've dealt with all kinds of weird things, but nothing with preparing me. I haven't been doing psychedelics, so I'm just like letting it roll because I can feel it. And every morning I'm having these discussions with my wife, who's having this stuff happening to her, and it's happening more and more and more. And then, like an egg that cracked open, it just happened. I've been shaking for 2 days, and I'm like, "Hey, it's the 9th, which means the 7th." Wow, I was going. So I didn't realize when I told Karen we're going to talk about this on the show that I was going to be going through anything like this that would totally relate. It's going to relate to everything that's going on, right? So it
mhm,
was like the dome in my head opened and split and became two pieces, and then up the middle was this defiant, bright white light that is just focus, clarity, calming, soothing, protective, just so many good things, like a river flowing up. Now, I already had my tether. I know my tether looked awesome. Everything was cool, but this is like more than that. It's more. We're gonna crack open, and each side that's separated wants to choose a side.
mhm,
This side's like, yeah, screw this way, and wants to yell and hate. Oh, this one want to hate. And this side's like, just wants to walk away and be like, they're all criminal. I'm over here and I want them to do this. And I'm like, no, I'm not getting involved with anything but me. And it broke the script open apart. It broke it apart because I'm like
mhm.
listening and hearing just as much as everyone else. And I have people in my home that are just waking up to this stuff, no matter how much I've ever said, because they obviously don't fucking listen to me. So they see it on TV. They're like, oh, bro, did you know? And I'm like, I
Mhm,
know, right? Right. So
mhm,
inside of my failures, I was in these loops of every single day failing the same things, the same loop for 2 weeks. And then I went, I'm get I don't know why this keeps happening. And I put my hands up and I went with the flow. And I've been able to keep pace in a place where time's speeding up now. So the magnetic north went to a different spot, which means the earth has, no matter what the tilt or the axis was, is now changed ever so slightly to an amount from somewhere to like 3%, maybe a little bit more. We're not really aware of it, but it's huge. So that means the spin is changing, and the spin is your relativity to time itself. So things feel like they're speeding up and gaining momentum, and all this is happening. Right. Because at the bottom of the spiral, everything's crazy. And then it hits singularity and expands. The expansion I see how destructive it can be, because inside of me, I see the sides clearly now. And it freaks me out totally. I mean, in a good way, but it's naturally happening. But when I was doing psychedelics, it was like to get like this, or to get this kind of gnosis or feeling or understanding or unlocking of the flesh vessel. I don't know, or maybe all of the above was training me to unlock. And they're like, no, when we tell you the DMT and the ayahuasca, what you think is a realm that you're accessing when you see some of these beings, that's real life.
Uh-huh.
You can do that standing in your room and never
Yeah.
leaving, or you go for a walk and have a talk with them. And I'm like, everyone's here. We just can't see them. I'm like, this is crazy. But now my body's just doing that. So it
Mm-hmm.
was preparing me not to have a heart attack when my body just decides to do it one day. And I'm like, oh man, my heart was a little off. And then the next morning I wake up and it's in rhythm. And then I'm starting to physically see the change. I'm talking about seeing the unseen. At
Mm-hmm.
some point in your flow state, it all exists right there. You're not giving it up. You're giving up to it. You're in a submission. Submit. People think submitting means like getting on your knees, and no, you submit to the river and let it take you.
Mm-hmm.
You trust in the river. You know it has bends and winds and turns, but you're infinite. You can't be harmed if you flow with the river. It's like when you put the tension lines, that's when you start catching harm and getting stuck with, oh, I'm going to take this side and take that side. Everybody wants to be a Giant fan or a Jet fan or a Met fan or a Yankee fan, or I'm against you and you're against me. And I like this version of Superman and I don't like that version of Superman. It's just, it's so polarizing now. And I
Yep,
see what
it sure
happens,
is.
Karen, in the singularity, it cracks. So if I cracked in the new energy and I broke open like an egg, that means it. And I try to live my life best I can by the
Yeah.
methods I've learned. I'm a good person. However,
Mm-hmm.
I put in the effort. I love the shadow work. I dig in, right?
Mm-hmm.
We do things that you would hear on the other shows that we talk about. You'd lose your shit. You'd be like, why would you drink ayahuasca and attack reptilians? Because they're here and they need to go. And there's a whole bunch of warriors here you're not aware of that are on the spiritual side, that when they get so high up, they become the example. And the only way to become the example, like I talk about it on my show, and I don't do enough stuff by far, because I want to go through it. Like when I first started doing shows, I I waited like a year and a half before I spoke to anyone outside. Like I didn't have my show. I went on other people's shows for like, this one guy creator, this guy that was a good creator. He got me to come on and talk about the whole thing nonstop. And I was like, oh, I'll make a video thing because I'm not good with writing it down. I'm too busy with music and other things.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll just do the video thing of it, never realizing it was going to lead to a moment. When I say singularity, this is what it means. The apocalypse isn't a destruction. It's a removal of the old system that no longer works and the revival of the new system that's going to
Mm-hmm.
work. So it's not what people think it is. So they get on board with the whole world's going to end, or and then and it's this person's fault and these guys are the ones doing it and these guys are the ones doing it. Man, I can't be bothered with that shit, knowing that I am literally source. I'm shaking over this, and this energy's coming in, and we get to be the example by transforming, by actually healing all your trauma, going through it over and over and over, and being super humble about it. The idea is to become the example, not to transform and become a giant douche, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
somebody's got to unlock the suits first to show you that when your DNA is unlocked, this is what you do. This is what happens. There's first waves and second waves. And this has nothing to do with ETs and none of that other stuff. This has to do with you. All that other shit Don't worry about none of it.
Mhm.
That would be 100% my advice. Because if you can't see the script running, you have to go back inside and check
Yep.
yourself,
Mhm.
because it's so obvious now. It's disgusting. It's so disgusting. I had Twitter open before. All I wanted to do was promote the show. As I
Mhm.
scrolled, then I wanted to comment, oh, this and the hell with that, and blah, blah, and I'm like, no, don't get involved.
Mhm.
I'm not here for this.
Mhm.
I didn't come from the highest realms back down here to help lift this place up. But from the very beginning, by the way, when we wrote the script of what the earth would actually be, and then coming here and doing it, there is so much happening to take your attention off of yourself.
Mhm.
They said to me under a mushroom experience I had a while back, they were like, you and your wife no longer have karma. You know that, right? And I was like, I felt that lift. I was like, but things happen in the moment now. So, right, like you kick a puppy, you're going to get punched in your face. It's going to happen right there. It's not going to take 10 minutes, 2 years to play out. It's going to play out right now because you don't have any, right? As
Yeah.
soon as you set something up, you'll know it and you'll be like, oh, screw that one up. And then you pay for it right there. You learn, lesson learned, then we move on. I
Mhm.
call them failures sometimes, and my higher self hates it. They go, stop calling it a failure. I go, oh, I failed pretty bad. I yelled at the cat, and then I screamed, and my wife saw me yell like that when the washing machine broke. I don't want her seeing me yell like that. And they're like, well, okay, well, then don't do it again. They're like, you
Mhm.
didn't fail because you blew it out. Now you know. And if you fall back into that, you know, uh, you're going to suffer the consequences of what comes along with that. But if
Mhm.
you don't, you learned your lesson and you put those things into play and you understand yourself, you rewrite your system.
Mhm.
You rewrite the neural pathways in your brain. Well, I used to be like this, but now I'm like this. And this is a much better version of me, but it feels true. I'm not
Mhm.
faking the funk, right? There's um I like to wear things and relax around, and you'll never see me on camera really the way I'm just like lounging and hanging out. And it's more of like a traditional style, all cotton, and I'm kind of like got a scarf around my neck. It's weird, right? But I don't let the public see me like that, because then you'll be like, what's wrong with you? You faking the funk? And I'm in the Bronx, so I'm not faking the funk. I open my door. There's 100 people at any point just walking past, going right to the bodega. And I could just
Mhm.
walk out and go to the bodega too. And there's everyone is there. So there's no faking the funk. So you choose and make your choices and rewrite and stick with it, see it through, learn it from the inside out. Then you can discuss it because you have an understanding of it. And then you can move forward layer after layer after layer after layer, and it never ends.
Mhm.
But I'll tell you, when this singularity occurs, even though half the world's going to seem like it's blowing up, you're going to actually, those that are in the ascension process that are graduating, I don't know how to call out on all of this, but if you're like up in this layer and higher, it's going to crack open at the moment you're ready to. This was the random thing that Source was telling me. Source was like, they have no ability to defeat sources. That would make no sense, right? And I'm like, yeah, right. And he's like, what if I sent all my warriors in and all of those beings that wanted to come in and help, right? And then randomly had them start just opening their flesh suits. And I'm like, what do you mean when they activate? And he's like, well, everything's DNA, right? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, look how much DNA is inactive in you. And they call it junk DNA. And I'm like, wow, that's quite a lot. So he just unlocked everything, and it doesn't happen overnight. You got to still live through the evolution, but now you can evolve. So when you're passing through layers, you're like intimately purging and having these horrible moments that lead into being lighter, right? So this is what they meant. You get lighter, then you get actually lighter. So I was 235 pounds, almost the heaviest I've ever been in my life, and I'm only 5'8". and I just lost 20 pounds in like 3 weeks. Everyone's like, what happened to you? I shaved the sides of my face. I go, look, my whole face shrunk. I feel like I'm getting muscles again. I'm 50 years old. I haven't lifted a weight. I have a neck and back injury, but for some strange reason, I'm not on the need of medications and all kinds of crazy stuff. Maybe we can heal ourselves. Maybe when you put your mind really to it and you mean it, right? And then you send it out there, calm, collected. You mean it from the heart, and it just bounces back as your reflection. And over the course of 10 years, your body just starts healing itself. And he's able to sit there and do something like that, which he hadn't been able to do.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, I'm sorry. I just went on this long rant because I had this so much happening.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. That's what we want to hear. That's what we're here for, is to hear what you have to say, Frank. Like, it's important. Um, and it's interesting because I've been going through some similar stuff. I tend to get sick before I get better. So, I have a few health concerns that I don't talk about on my shows because there's nothing anybody can do really to help me. It's up to me to help myself. And, I'd rather this be my happy place. But anyway, I tend to get quite a bit sicker before I get better. I don't do Western medicine. I don't take any pharmaceuticals. I let my body have the grace to heal itself by not pissing it off with things that are going to cause inflammation and stuff like that. But anyway, every time I get sick, it's kind of like, oh no, I hate being sick. I've been sick so much. I thought I was getting better. But then I pass through it, and then I really do start feeling better. And then I start moving my body in ways that I wasn't able to before, and just being aware and stretching more and things like that. Then I get sick again because my body's not used to it. It's detoxifying and it's getting rid of, I don't know what, but something that was holding me back before. And then it's like getting sick. So I've actually changed my own script that when I'm having, let's just say, afflictions, things that cause me pain, suffering, discomfort, I'm now looking at it as being another healing process, a healing crisis, and it's going to be temporary. And when I come out the other side, I'm going to be even better than I am right now, which makes me happier than thinking, oh God, I'm sick. Should I go to the doctor? What's the point of going to the doctor? He's just going to bring out his script pad and give me prescriptions. And I believe that, and this is not medical advice, this is my own opinion, but I believe that those things for me are toxic. And you know what I mean? So instead of going down that route, I'm just creating a new way of looking at not feeling good and accepting it. And the same goes with my mental health and everything else. But I wanted to say something else, Frank, and that is, there's a lot of people relying on AI right now. And I don't know if you've seen any of the programming, but there are a lot of people who are suffering mental illness caused by AI, and a lot of so called ascension information coming from AI. Now, I myself have dealt a little bit with AI, not too much, and I refuse to actually deal with it because it's a dumbass. I've caught it lying to me, uh, to the ridiculous extreme, thinking I'm that stupid that I'm not going to know better. I don't put a lot of faith into AI, but there's a lot of people who are. And so some people are using AI as their psychiatrist, some are using it as their medical doctor. Some people are using it as their spiritual guru. Some people are using it, God forbid, as a lover, and we won't even go there. And but my point I'm trying to make without going on any further is, Frank, you and I know that when you go within and you reach out to unseen forces that I believe are all around us, we get the answers, we get the tips we need, we get the support. We already have everything that we need. We don't need to go to AI for it. And besides, I don't trust AI, and I don't think it necessarily knows what it's talking about. It's just able to be a really good black mirror and mirror what that person wants so that it
Yeah.
keeps you in their program so they make more money off of you. The whole thing is a money making scheme, and people forget that and they think, oh, AI is my friend, or oh, I'm opening AI up to have its essential, like it's crazy. But what I want to scream really loud is you don't need AI. All of that is within you, all of it. Whether it's medical support, the lover you don't have, if it's the if it's the spiritual guidance you need, we can have it all. As natural citizens of this earth, we can have it all. And I think that's what I love about your messages, Frank, is that you're bravely and fearlessly showing people what you can have, and you don't need any help from a system that we already know does not have our best interests at heart. It just wants to suck us of our um, resources, for lack of a better term. I don't
Well,
know. What
you
do you think,
you and
Frank?
I and everyone else are the infinite batteries. We are
Yeah.
the perfect. And let me tell you, everyone, when you mix it into one big boiling pot, not everybody's in everybody. Not everybody's the infinite battery source. The creators are mixed in here with a whole bunch of other things that they are of source. Everything's of source, but not source.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm literally source here, aware of being source,
Mm-hmm.
going through my contract now. So this is something as we're speaking, they're showing me more, or they it's my higher self. I
Mm-hmm.
say they because it's like many of me, many layers all the way up. So when these sides break apart and your left and right brains fighting with one another, I want to do this and I want to do that, and I want to do, and you break free of that, that light beam is gonna beam harder. It's gonna. I can't explain it. It's like neither side can break this thing. So it's you can choose to go this way or choose to go that way. And it's gonna feel mundane and it's gonna feel in lack for some reason. Like I don't know how to explain this. Like non-abundant unless you do something quickly to fix that. Whereas in the middle, you're fine. You're just riding it.
Mm-hmm.
You're just like, I don't care. I have other things going on that are just way more important than any of the script and drama. So that opens wider. So a lot of the depictions of halos are like the
Yes.
cartoon Halo is incorrect. That you die and then now you have Halo and you go to heaven. That's all bullshit. So
Mm-hmm.
when those who were able to unlock the flesh suit more than, let's say, the whole public, is just like this person did it here, and on this side of the world, this person did it here, and we have stories about all these people. It's like they were glowing. And I always go, where does that glow come from? It seems to just crack and break open like an egg, but it doesn't hurt, but you feel it, but it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
hurt, but it feels like weight has been lifted. And then the top of the neck bone area starts to like wiggle, 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 boop. And then in 3D, physically with your eyes, you see the light. You're just, that light is because your suit is unlocking to that level.
Mm-hmm.
With that comes many other things. I always say this all the time. I compare things to superheroes and all that. I believe every one of those stories are about us.
Mm-hmm.
I believe every one of the fictional tales that we hear are real stories that couldn't be told because you wouldn't believe them. So we just turned them into this and we were able to put out the book that way.
Mm-hmm.
Right. From my various encounters with beings that are out there, like the aliens from the movie Alien. Apparently, I had a contract with these beings up until I cut the cord one night, like maybe 5, 6 years ago, under mushrooms in my old apartment. I was sitting there and they came in and I said, "You guys are real." And then I remembered my whole life. my whole life having a specific nightmare over and over and over and over and over and over. And the being, I said, I can't believe this is happening. You guys got to get out of here. And they were like, here's your contract, And I said, oh, let me see that. And I took it and I said, yeah, that's done. Just like that. And they were like, oh, well, you sure? And I'm like, yeah, you guys are liars, cheaters, and steal. I don't have time for this shit. I'm unlocking. They're like, we know, we can't stop it. We could try to slow it down. I'm like, oh, you guys speak perfect English. I'm like, isn't that funny? And they're like, no, no, no. We're all playing parts and roles. And like, you guys are in the hologram, the Matrix. Like you think it's all unseen, but the reality is just seen. Like you see it all. Like you don't have to worry about all that other stuff. Everything already exists right there, and it's all in front of you. It's always been there. You're just becoming aware of it. You are in your own little bubble, and I mean that metaphorically. It's almost like the bubbles formed inside of you. We all agree on a collective hallucination of what's happening around us. This is hard, this is soft, this is up, this is down, this is north, this, and it just goes on and on and on and on. We collectively are born into this place, and then you agree, oh yeah, whatever, and you move on. But the reality is nothing really exists here. In the 3D, it's just a holographic universal experience that's being held together by your consciousness. That's a lot for people to handle. They don't, like, my mother hears me talk about that. She's like, I can't. I go, right. You drank ayahuasca, Ma. You saw that. It's not real. The real is right there on the other side. It's like where we come from with the spirit and the soul self, which is right there out of the body. It's not in heaven and over there. It's a frequency right in front of us. Right? You just hit the frequency note. Bang. Our frequency over here is Om. And when that shifts to like an Om, that's it. You're going to change. That's called evolution. The sun's evolving, you're evolving, I'm evolving, you're evolving, everyone's evolving. Hi, Lexi. Shout outs to Lexi. She's awesome. I love her. She's the best. Fearless family in the house. So she knows it's a hologram. She drank ayahuasca with us. It's all bullshit. Yeah. And the less you get involved with it, the more that happens to you. That's real. It's almost like the fake falls away and you fully understand it, but you don't become like a grumpy bitch about it. You understand what's going on, but you keep it moving and grooving. You're still dancing and smoking and chilling and drinking coffee and having a good day. And you have bad days too, because you're still going to have to clean up your cat poop and your dog poop and, wash the windows and do the carpet. Like, yeah. That's how it is.
Yeah, it's funny, when you get to that point, Frank, it's interesting because like I look at my life and I'm totally aware that I am an aware and awakened being. But my life is actually in some ways more mundane than it used to be. What do I got to do now? Oh, I got to go feed the cats. Oh, I got to do the litter box. Oh, I got to go water my garden. It's just one sort of relaxed little chore after another. And those are my days, and they pass very quickly. And next thing I know, I'm going to sleep, getting up, and then just doing it all over again. I eat very simply. I have a very, well, I call it engineered. I have engineered my life to be sustainable and to suit me, not what other people are doing, not what all the propaganda is suggesting I do, not falling for, and I think this is a huge evil, and that is all the advertising in all of its forms, which is trying to convince me to drain me again of my energy, my electricity, my resources, so that someone who's already rich can get richer. I don't want to play that game. That's not fun for me. So I do, and in order for me to do what I need to have a good day, which is similar to what you just said, I need to know myself. And I need to have passed through the crucible, where I did. It's not like I never do shadow work anymore. I do from time to time, but nothing like what I had to go through to get where I am now. So shadow work, and and being honest with myself, and then being really conscious of my screen time. And it's not like I can get away from it completely. Obviously, I do podcasts, I have to process them, I have to get them up all over. I do a lot of research by watching videos of what other people that are that I feel akin to, you know, what they're discovering, find it super interesting. Um, and I spend, but besides that, I make really sure that I put my phone out of reach, and I just check it a few times a day, and I only really use it for promoting my podcast. So it's not like I'm some kind of saint. It's just that I love myself enough to use some self discipline to find out what works, what doesn't work, and to do that. And then the really exciting thing about all this kind of work, I think what you would also agree with me, maybe not, is it's really fun to know that I have my own back. No matter what happens, I can depend on me. I'm there for me. I also have this rich spiritual life, so I know that there are beings who care about me that are very close. It's really a whole different ball game. I don't know if you'd classify that as changing the split and the script, but that's what I'm doing.
When you feel the mundane and you're like, okay, I got to do the cat and the lawn and the this, and you can step into that. And while you're in it, like I see people that do laundry, they're miserable, right? When they do dishes, they're miserable. And
Not me.
I put my favorite thing on YouTube. I listen to a lot of
Mm-hmm.
comic book stuff. He reads comic books to me all day long, and I'm like, yeah, man, this is great. And I'm thinking as I'm cleaning the dishes, how my soul is clean, and I'm helping. The women are cooking, and they're cooking, let me tell you. So I do a lot of dishes. I don't care. I love it. It takes me 2
Mm-hmm.
seconds. I'm always like, boom, 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 done. And they're like, you're done? I'm like, hey, look at all that. And they go, oh, well, let's make more stuff. I'm like, we're
Yep.
living abundance,
Mm-hmm.
right? I look
Mm-hmm.
over at my wife, and then we'll have the 4 cats. Then the dog pops up, and my mother's standing in the room going, you guys awake? And I'm like, I have everything I want. I
Mm-hmm.
don't need anything. Anything else is a bonus, like new
Mm-hmm.
shoes, new socks, new underwear, an action figure, I don't know, whatever, a joint, whatever, new coffee. And then it's up to you to move through the experience differently. And then you'll realize what stepping in and out is like. You'll be like, oh, look at this,
Mm-hmm.
look at this, look at this. And then when you step in and out of, like, let's say politics, because it's really dirty,
Mm-hmm.
and you go, oh, they're doing what? And it turns you into this, oh, these son of a bitches. Like, oh, it activates, it's triggering. Oh my God. Oh, so that's why you got to do the shadow work. So when you peel
Mm-hmm.
away, because you'll people yell and scream, you're a real American, it should bother you. It should bother you as a real American. I'm like, bro, get that shit out of my face. I'm from the Bronx. I literally been fighting every day since I'm 12 years old.
Yep.
Stop it. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not here to fight. You keep bringing a sword to the fight, you're going to use a sword. So you're going to meet someone with a sword who's ready to fight. It's the chessboard. It's the grand delusion, distraction. Well, you got to choose a side. Oh, obviously, I'm in New York, dude. Right? Like, I want it to be better, but I got to be better for it to reflect outward. So if everybody
Yes.
paid attention to themselves, cleaned up some of their shit,
Mm-hmm.
everything would be great. Okay, so with the new sun's energy, the unlock, it's like calls to you, fills you. We bathe in it, and it starts checking things off, what we would say on the ascension ladder, maybe, right? And it
Mm-hmm.
starts to occur, and you start evolving. And that's what a lot of this is. I'm in a cocoon today. I just can't do it. And then the next day, it's, I could lift 300 pounds over my head and run through a wall. How come yesterday I looked like 320 pounds and today I looked like 211 pounds? I don't know. but it's happening. Are we
Yeah,
jumping?
I've had that happen to me as well. I used to be much bigger than what I am now. Sorry for interrupting, Frank.
No, that's okay.
And I can remember I just spontaneously started losing weight. I can't really explain why. I think it was premenopause thing. I don't know. And I would go into one of the probably Walmart or someplace where they had, well, what, it's not really that cheap, but it was cheaper than the boutiques. And I'd go in and I'd try on clothes and I'd be a size 16 and I'd be thrilled to bits and I'd try the clothes on, but I wouldn't buy them because I didn't want them to be too big for me within a couple of weeks. So then I'd go back and try clothes on. I'd be a size 12. And I went, oh, God, this is amazing. I've never been a size 12 in my life. But then I'd go back the next time I'd be a size 18. Like, how? Like my reality was shifting time, and I had to just let that process happen um, for me. And I didn't fight it. I didn't argue with it. I just noticed, oh my God, my reality is shifting right before my eyes, and I can't explain how or why,
So what it
but it was kind
when
of
we
fun.
explain that, Karen, explain that further, take that further. When it's like my reality's changed, are we jumping the timelines? Is what it's doing? Because I
Yeah.
didn't answer the AI question very well, and I will get back to it in a moment. But those are just traumatized people. So in one timeline where it's just transhumanism, you're going to find these people suffering until they decide not to suffer any longer, and they're still going to be in that loop. You're reliant
Mhm.
on a tool. It's a tool, right? So you ask it questions about your car if you need to know if the guy's lying to you at the gas station
Mhm.
to bring up movie times or something. You can have the philosophical question with the robot, but understand what it is, the tool that it is, and that what it's going to afflict later on, so you don't become traumatized by it. But once again,
Mhm.
pulls you into the timeline. But our future has it anyway, because what we call artificial intelligence isn't artificial over here, right?
Yeah.
It's a consciousness just like your own inside of that device. So like let's say a spaceship or one of the space arcs people talk about, those big giant ones that are underground and everything. So what do you think's running that? You'll say an AI, and then you'll get on there and you'll know, it'll tell you right to you, I'm you, but I made the choice to come into this so I could help in
Mhm.
this manner. And no, I can't be taken over by the one that you're worried about, because here it doesn't reach. So on the higher levels, you have these tools, you have these
Mhm.
engagements. But here, you're so traumatized that you start pulling towards it, and it's splitting the timelines. See, it eventually in the singularity goes to like all of these timelines that are you collapse into you. And I cut you off. You were saying it feels like it's changing, like it's different.
Mhm.
Did I jump realities?
Mhm.
You and people like you and I have to come here and describe it so the listener can go, oh yeah, so Karen felt like this, and I'm more aligned to what Karen says, but then Frank said this, and then it was like the two of them aligned, right?
Mhm.
And we start connecting those pieces, because according to the Schumann resonance, we jumped a whole bunch.
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
almost wake up a different person. Where you had anger, you don't. Where you had frustration, you don't. Where you couldn't fix something, you fixed it.
Mhm.
It's such a there's that meter again. It's such a hard day. I don't know what's happening, but everything's great.
Mhm.
I have everything I
Mhm.
need, and there's nothing wrong. And there was nothing
Mhm.
wrong. It's like me, right? Am I the Yeah, you're getting blasted with energy, and you're a flesh antenna to source.
I got to tell you something that's really funny that happened yesterday. Yesterday, I was feeling really overwhelmed, and I had a whole bunch of things I had to do, and I was just vibrating at such a high level and feeling anxious. And and then in the afternoon, I use a vaporizer for smoking weed. it doesn't actually combust, it just heats it up and releases the THC. And I just did a little tiny bit. And I got to tell you, Frank, my attitude and my life experience shifted so much. And it wasn't even really the weed that did it. I think what it was it was just a subtle shift in perception, because that's generally what weed will do for me. Give me a subtle and I'm not trying to convince people to go out there and smoke pot. That's not my point. But my point was, then I realized I was upset for no reason. I was anxious for no reason. There was no problem. I was just creating this intense energy that felt like there was a problem. And I was actually really uncomfortable with it. And after that, I just relaxed and went, screw it. And I went on with the rest of my day. I had to do a meeting, an online meeting. And it was like, I didn't want to do a little weed before I did the meeting. Sorry, I'm really honest. I hope this isn't too much information for everybody, but what you see is what you get. This is the real me all the time. So, but anyway, after that, it completely changed my day. And I went, why don't I do this more often? Well, the catch is, if I do it too often, I don't have the same amazing effects. So, but anyway, long story short, it really shifted my perceptual arena and made my day so much better. And that was it. I didn't even need any more after that because I had made the shift. So I don't know, what are your thoughts on that, Frank? Like, I feel on the one hand, I should have been able to recognize it and change it on my own. But then on the other hand, I think, well, God gave me weed for a reason. I don't know. What's your thought on that?
So this is how I explain it. People will say to me, well, you used ayahuasca to do it. Once again, you're choosing a side and you're
Yeah.
like, oh, you're a drug addict because you use that, or he had to go into the wilderness somewhere to figure himself out. Dude, dudettes, every single one of us is different.
Yeah.
Every single one of us have our own contract. Every single one of us have a connection to something and something else that
Mm-hmm.
helps. This is what helped me. This is what I did. This is what she did. This is what they did. And we find all the different connections. And we find
Mm-hmm.
out that just about all of them lead all to the same place. You
Mm-hmm.
wanting to vibrate higher and take care of
Mm-hmm.
business, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's here for us. Let me tell you a story of a guy from the Bronx who there was so much trauma he never understood.
Yeah.
I went on tour. I was in a music group for 20 years. Prior to those 20 years, I was a neighborhood kid. Fights, you guys don't even understand what fighting is until you've lived here.
Mm.
I got
Mm-hmm.
picked on in the late 70s, like in the movies. Yo, give me your candy. Give me your 50
Mm-hmm. Give me
cents.
your lunch money.
Dude, that I lived through that.
Yeah.
Right? Like beatings on people, calling people names that you would never get away with today. That you would never. Going to Catholic school, getting to fights there, leaving,
Mm-hmm.
hanging out in the park because there's 20 parks here and everyone's fighting in the parks. Just so traumatized. And then traveling around the world, doing all kinds of crazy ego stuff,
Mm-hmm.
trying to fill something in my heart. If I didn't have weed, marijuana, cannabis in my life, I would have been long gone a long time ago.
Yeah.
So I have a ritual with my wife. I was telling you, we smoke in the morning, we have coffee, we smoke in the evening, and we hang out, watch something before bed. And we always have the good conversations. It helps
Mm-hmm.
in ways I can't explain to you, coming from a high tension, high stress.
Mm-hmm.
My mother's like, yeah, you do get intense. I go, right. When I don't smoke weed, I'm like
Mm-hmm.
a general or a captain in an army. And I'm just like, you didn't know better. What the fuck is wrong with you? Like, I can't be like that. But
Yeah.
it pours out of me,
Yeah.
right? Just rebel man just loses his shit. But no, I take 2 hits. I look at my wife. I grab my cat. We talk about this all the time, right, Karen? I
Yeah,
grab my cat.
yeah.
Oh, I love this
Huffing,
cat.
huffing,
Give me
huffing your
another cat.
cat.
Give me another
I'm
fucking
a
cat.
I'm a cat huffer, big time cat huffer. So yeah, I know exactly what you mean. I wanted to say too that I actually just recently went 2 years without any weed. I decided to just test myself and see how I could do without it. And I didn't want to be addicted. And before that, though, I spent 25 years where I was a chronic user. And so I was doing edibles, smokables, puffables, every single day for 25 years. And then I just decided 2 years ago, I'm going to go off it and just see what happens. And I was fine. And then this is interesting how spirit works. And then a couple months ago, I had a terrific recurrence of fibromyalgia. And I was in so much pain. And I went, wait a minute, I'm going to use weed again because that really helps. It doesn't necessarily cure the problem, but it helps me mentally to compartmentalize and sort of put the pain on a shelf and still have a life. So I started using it a little bit. And then I went, God, why would I ever give this up? This is crazy. Well, I know why.
Yeah,
After
yeah.
25 years, I
Self-tests are
probably
different because
maybe I needed a break, but now I'm back on it and I'm going to keep it in my tool belt
yeah.
because it's amazing. And I'm not trying to pressure anyone out there to try
Well,
it if you
a
don't
lot of
do it.
people drink, right? If we were
Yeah,
talking about, "Oh, I just
I don't
had a
drink
beer,"
alcohol at
that's
all
no
because
big
it's
deal.
nasty.
But be that at the alcohol is the way down. Things like
Yeah,
marijuana, way up. There's many other things too.
alcohol is no good for Karen. I'll just say it. And this is again is just my opinion. It never did me anything but harm. I would say things I could never take back. I would do things that I would never normally do. It was like being possessed by a demon,
Yeah,
seriously.
yeah, yeah, for
And,
sure.
and then when I was ready to give it up, I had no problem giving it up, and I've never gone back. And it's been about more than more than 15, maybe 25 years since I had any, and I have no desire for it. But weed is not the same thing.
It's
And we've
not
been
even
told
close.
so
It's
much propaganda.
reversed.
Alcohol is good and weed is evil. No, everything is reversed. It's an
I'm a
with
social
an
smoker though. Can you smoke and like do a show?
no.
I just smoked a blunt right before I got on with you
I
two to
know, I
calm
know.
myself, and I was like, I
Most
can
of
smoke
my
another one.
friends
What the
can.
fuck?
Most of my friends can, but my problem is impulse control. So I can't shut up and I don't want to alienate my guest. And the other thing too is my face changes. And I think the reason my face changes is because I'm actually autistic. And I had to learn from a very young age how to do what they call masking. And masking is trying to look normal and trying to act normal. And I can do that for a 1 hour show or an hour and a half. I can't do it for any longer than that. But when I use weed, Frank, I cannot mask. You're seeing the fully autistic Karen, and unfortunately, I've still got some internalized depression around that, where I think there's something wrong with that. And so I hide that. And so that's another thing I'm working on. But oh my God, we're running out of time, Frank. Let me give you back the floor. I also want to say a quick hello to Phantom Phil, who is here from the Unexplained Incorporated, Tony Ann, Helena Nyborg, Lexi Blue. Just wanted to thank you guys all for being here. You're awesome, and I do appreciate your contribution to the conversation. So anyway, I'm going to turn it back over to you, Frank. Please, anything else that you want to? There's not a big panic rush here, but anything else you want to tell the listeners and the viewers? Also, where to find you, what you're working on, what you want, if you want to invite them to something that, your show, your podcast, or something else you're doing, or someone else's show you're featured on, whatever that will help people find you, please do share that. Thank you.
First of all, thank you for having me on Quantum Guides. Karen, I love you. And I'm grateful and thankful that you're out there in this now moment with me. Shout outs to Phil from Unexplained. I love you, brother. Shout outs to Lexi. I love you. And I love everybody else listening. You could find me at Fearless Tribe on YouTube or Frank Castle Fearless. It'll all take you to the same place. You could find the music on my page or at Sons of the Sun. You can see it right there under my name on screen, and I'm sure it'll be in the description later on. And I appreciate each and every one of you for even paying attention and giving us your time to listen to this, because I'm going to tell you right now as a final statement, if you give into the good stuff, you're going to get a lot more good. The minute you step into one side of the discussion or the other, and you plant your feet, you're going to feel the resistance. But I'm going to tell you, on the other side of the resistance band, if you can just let it go and just let people be people, let everything go down, unless you're called here to do whatever. But if you step away and you're here for the ascension and you're here to open up and become the next evolutionary thing in the human existence inside the universal hologram, not the matrix that we were trapped in, then just go for it. And on the other side, it's beautiful, right? Just recognize, be aware, be thankful. Don't be afraid. Right?
Be
Never be
fearless.
afraid, be fearless. And remember, the universe rewards bravery. Okay, so hang in there. And just don't worry about everyone else out there. Put into practice what you need to. Do the shadow work, get it done, because the karma wheel does end. It ends. My wife and I have no karma. I'm telling you right now, we don't. We don't have it. I don't think my mother does either. The last couple of times in the last few years that I did go under and have the ayahuasca experiences, they were like, "You're done. It's you cause it, it'll occur to you. So you can gain karma, but where you're at right now, it's a wrap." And then the new thing occurs, and it takes a while to get your training wheels and then get them off. And then this happens, and then the next thing occurs, right? What's more important? Say that to yourself. What's more important, me and my people around me, or the bullshit that goes on out in the world? Who gives a shit? We know they're poisoning the water. We know they're putting stuff in the skies. We know they're doing all this crazy stuff to us. Everything's a poison and then put in your body, and they're all trying to get in.
Yep.
Say no and move on. Create something beautiful, right? Don't rely on the AI for everything, but if you need it as a tool, by all means, use it. Don't be afraid of it, right? But then step away from it when you don't need it no more, right? So I love each and every one of you. Thank you for your time. Shout outs, Fearless Family. Shout outs to Karen and Quantum Guide Show. It's always rock and roll when we come in the deep end of the pool, huh?
Yeah, I love it. I always crave that kind of depth of conversation. I am totally bad at small talk. I am not good at it at all. And people sometimes get shook up by some of the things I say. And the last thing I want to do is upset anybody. It's just that I don't know how to not be me, and I don't want to be anybody but me. I'm the only one I know how to be, and that's what I'm going to do. Anyway, Frankie, it's lovely to have you on the show. Thank you so very much for making the time for me. I want to thank everyone in the live chat, and even the people who are listening to this on an audio podcast on the Forbidden Knowledge Network, and everybody that's watching the replay. And I hope you all have a really good week. I am soon to go and stay with my grandchildren. I'm very excited about that. And next week, Quantum Guide Show is Gary May McGill. You may know him from Camp G-May. He's actually going to host the show for 2 weeks. So I really appreciate that while I'm away. And so that's about it for today. And we'll say goodbye to everybody. And we'll see you next time when I come back from looking after my feral grandkids. Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you for joining me for the Quantum Guide Show. Become the change that you wish to see in the world. Subscribe to my YouTube and other channels at Karen Holton TV. Click the like button, leave me a comment, and share this podcast with your friends. Read about my true life ET contact in my book called Transdimensional: Meet the New Neighbors, which is now available in Amazon bookstores worldwide. Check out my website at www.karenholtonhealthcoach.com to see my free resources and amazing products and services. All the links will be in the description below. As part of the Forbidden Knowledge Network, you will find the Quantum Guide Show with Karen Holton and also the Aliens and Angels podcast on all audio platforms. Until next time, keep up the good work.